when we wrote Modo initially, we didn't just build it. We built an architecture first that allowed us to develop things. So, and we call that Nexus. So it's a development architecture, and Modo is an application that's baked out of that development architecture, and it makes developing new products and adding new features much easier. You can do that with a smaller team. It just helps with the development process. It's a huge release. There's about 100 new features in the whole thing. So from a modeling point of view, the big thing that we introduced is retopology tools, because we've identified that as a key area in modeling these days. The interesting thing is the way that the tools exist in Modo is we actually had all of the retopology tools already in there. We just hadn't kind of packaged it as these are your retopology tools. So all we've really done in 601 is just bundled all that together with a load of presets, made a few additions, and now you've got a modeling tool set, particularly for topology, which is really nice. And then from a character animation point of view, we have full body IK. We have a pose tool, which makes posing characters very easy. We also have soft body simulations as well as hard body simulations. So there's lots of things you can do now in Modo which were impossible before. You would have had to go on to another application. But it's just exciting to have all that in there. Yeah. All the time I've been involved with Modo, I've always looked forward to the day where I could demo character rigging in Modo, and that day has come. So it's really exciting, really nice to do that. And it opens up so many more possibilities now in terms of work you can do and jobs you can take on and that kind of thing. So it's very exciting. Because Modo kind of started out as a modeler originally, and then we've added features, it's never been like a full pipeline application from the outset. It's getting there now, but it's sort of kind of fed in to different markets as we were adding things to the application. So I think Modo has always been big in games. It's used a lot in the game industry. Some of our biggest clients are game companies, and there it's used for modeling and painting and baking. Hopefully it's going to be used more now for character animation. That's what we're hoping. But because our renderer is so cool and so fast, we've got a huge number of users in the print and illustration industry and product visualization. That's huge for us, and we've got some fantastic users. Tim Cooper is one particular user. He's a good friend of mine who's he was a photo retoucher for a number of years, and now he's producing amazing photoreal imagery for the advertising industry. So I wouldn't say there's one main thing, but we're feeding into lots of different industries. Well, we've always had a very, very fast preview renderer, which is invaluable for doing rendering, and it's really nice because it's not a standalone thing. It's completely integrated, and it basically is the renderer right there in front of you, and it shows any change that you make to the scene. And it's also a navigational tool as well for finding textures and changing them. So it's I really couldn't do any texturing without preview in there. And some of the new features in 601, we have some new non-realistic rendering features like cell shading, edge shading, and halftone. We've also got a new skin shader, which is packed full of features. Well, from my personal point of view, I mean, I'm a user. I mean, that's how I started out as a user. I bought Modo at version 1 and used it, and Luxology took me on board. And as employees of the company, we see ourselves as users as well. Do you know what I mean? So there's a connection there that we have, and also the developers. They don't work in kind of ivory towers. They're very, very accessible to the community, so they'll go on the forums and answer questions. So you'll be talking, and also our boss or my boss, he's on the forums there all the time. So it's not very often that you'll be able to talk directly to like the top guy in the company, and have a conversation with him. But at Luxology, that's what we like to do. We like to keep it as friendly and as personable as possible. You could just kind of look at what's missing in Modo, and you can work it out. So things like particles and that kind of thing, that's going to, obviously going to be on the horizon, because that's what we want to do. But the really exciting thing is we're getting to a point now where there's not that much more to add, right? And when you get to that point, it's just a question of making it better, right? So it's a difficult process of creating an application and adding enormous feature sets in with every release, and that does have some problems. But once you've got all those in there, then it's just a question of making it better.